We are standing, of course, in a wonderful park. And by looking at these beautiful natural surroundings, you wouldn't necessarily know that what we're really standing in is an industrial zone. But we are. And Lynchburg has worked very, very hard to create as many opportunities for businesses as possible to locate in our community, to grow in our community, to flourish here. And we're here today to make an announcement, or to hear an announcement, and we're here to celebrate the hard work of so many different people who have marshaled together private resources, public resources, local, state, federal resources, all the things that it takes to really keep a community healthy and strong. And in order to help us do that today, we have a few folks here that I want to introduce. I'm going to hold on introducing you gentlemen, but Delegate Byron is here today, and we want to say welcome to town. We also have representatives from both Senator Warner's office and Senator Kane's office. Take a stand so everyone can recognize you. And I am also joined by some fellow council members. We have the Vice Mayor of our city, Caesar Johnson, here, and we have Trinae Tweedy. And we are just so pleased and honored. It's really a privilege to welcome both the governor and the Secretary of Commerce and Trade to help us recognize an opportunity, really, that will keep on giving for decades to come. What we're here to talk about is an enterprise zone. And some of you may not know what an enterprise zone is, although I think some of you are here because of an enterprise zone. We have some of our partners in town who have told me that they relocated here or opened stores here precisely because of the opportunities that are generated by an enterprise zone. When the economy is weak, we need to do everything we can to help our business partners to continue in business. When the economy is strong, we have to do everything we possibly can to attract businesses and to compete for the best and the brightest of all the industries that can serve our community. And the enterprise zone is one tool that we have in our toolbox to help us do that. It's overseen by the very talented, very dedicated, very hardworking folks in our Economic Development Authority, and we have a number of them here today. Actually, if you're a member of the EDA and staff supporting the EDA, please rise so we can give you all a hand. We have a number of enterprise zones, and we constantly, Margette, the Director of Economic Development, Margette Upshur, is always very conscientious to make sure that the boundaries of our enterprise zones are written just in the right way to harness the maximum possible potential. And the enterprise zone that we are standing in right now was actually created back in 1995. It does not come easily to achieve enterprise zone status, and retaining enterprise zone status is also something that doesn't come easy and is getting harder and harder. We're going to hear a little bit in a moment about how important maintenance of that status is here. Just to tell you a little bit, though, about this particular part of our city. As I say, this enterprise zone was created in 1995. And it has been adjusted over the years, but as recently as 2014, if you want to look at last year's activity, just to give you a sense as to how powerful an enterprise zone can be in incentivizing growth and expansion, we saw a number of notable projects over the past year. Automated conveyor systems had a 40,000 square foot expansion to their plant. Asdell had a $21.3 million improvement project that added 33 new jobs to their existing 169 jobs. Apple Ford made $1 million in improvements. J. Crew expanded and renovated their plant. Southern Air also engaged in important expansions. And the Lynchburg Humane Society made a phenomenal, or achieved a phenomenal result when they finished off their 25,000 square foot new facility, which was a $3.4 million investment in this area. And our friends from Home Depot that I was talking to before we got here, they're actually the ones who told me they came here because of an enterprise zone. So you can see that by combining tools at all different levels of government and working in the public sector to help the private sector do what it does best, we are in a position to truly incentivize strong business in Lynchburg. We owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to all our partners, and among those partners, not to ever be forgotten or understated is, of course, our wonderful set of partners in state government. So let's also give them a hand. I now want to introduce the Secretary of Commerce and Trade, Maurice Jones, who was appointed to his post by Governor Terry McAuliffe in January of 2014. Previously, Secretary Jones served as Deputy Secretary for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development from April 2012 through January of 2014. As the second most senior official at Housing and Urban Development, Jones managed the department's day-to-day operations, the annual operating budget, and the agency's 8,900 employees. A Kenbridge, Virginia native, Secretary Jones also served as Commissioner of the Virginia Department of Social Services and Deputy Chief of Staff to then Virginia Governor Mark Warner. At the U.S. Treasury Department, Secretary Jones was Special Assistant to the General Counsel, and he also served as Legal Counsel to the Community Development Financial Institutions Fund, the CDFI, and as Director of the fund during the Clinton administrations. Mr. Jones worked for the law firm of Hunton and Williams in Richmond, Virginia, and he was a partner at Venture Philanthropy Partners, a firm that invests millions in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area to assist low-income children. It's my pleasure to welcome Secretary of Commerce and Trade Maurice Jones to the podium.
Well, good afternoon to everybody. There you go. You can talk out here, I promise you. I want to thank you for that kind introduction. It's nice to be in Lynchburg. It's a gorgeous day. We're going to take credit for bringing the weather here today, okay? So give us credit for that. Let me just add to the people that I want to make sure we recognize. I want to add to it our folks at the Department of Housing and Community Development who are here with us today. But for them, there would be no announcement like this anywhere in the Commonwealth unless the governor and I put it together amongst ourselves, and that probably wouldn't happen. So let me recognize Bill Shelton over here. I got Amanda Pearson over here. I think where's Steve? I saw Steve somewhere. There he is, Steve Alston, and then I saw Jordan Snelling. Where's Jordan? Let's recognize all of these folks. Anything you need with respect to community development and what the state is trying to do, these are the folks to talk to. It's my honor to introduce the governor to you. The governor's been on the job, so to speak, about 20 months now, 21 months. And in that time, he has prioritized making sure that we are attracting and keeping and growing jobs all across the Commonwealth. That's been, if you will, job number one. So how's he doing? He's doing great. We have announced that Virginia's unemployment rate is at 4.5%. I will tell you there will be another announcement later this week, but I can't get ahead of that. But just take the 4.5% as the data for now. That is the lowest unemployment. Yeah, we can clap for that. That's the lowest unemployment rate in any state in the southeast United States. It's the third lowest unemployment rate east of the Mississippi. You can clap for that too. We have 3.82 million jobs in Virginia today. That is one of the highest levels of employment in the state, not just this year or last year, but in the history of the Commonwealth. We've had 17 consecutive months of year-over-year growth. We have now wages up year-over-year by in excess of 6%. All of this, and the governor has done 480 economic development deals. Those 480 economic development deals will result, when they're all said and done, in $7.9 billion of investment in Virginia. That's in a 20-month period, folks. Just to give you context, that's more in 20 months than the previous two governors did combined. in that same period of time. And the governor would tell you that's just an appetizer. There's much more to come. So join me in welcoming the 72nd governor of the Commonwealth, Governor Terry McAuliffe.
Well, thank you, everybody. What a great honor to be here with you today. Let's thank the greatest Secretary of Commerce in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia, the great work he and his team have done. I, too, want to thank the folks at our Housing Community Development Bill. You and your team have been spectacular. To the greatest mayor in the United States of America, Mayor, it is an honor to be with you. And the greatest delegate to ever walk the halls, Delegate Byron, who's here with us today. And she is from the other party, believe it or not, but it really doesn't matter because we come together on things that matter. Economic development and workforce development. And I don't have a better champion working with me on redoing workforce development in the Commonwealth of Virginia than we do. So I really want to thank, honestly, for your great work on that, Delegate Byron and everybody else. Beautiful day to be in the greatest city in America here in Lynchburg, Virginia, is it not? Well, it's your city, you can do better than that. And if I'm here and I said it, then it's true. It is such a great city. And I also want to thank the folks from Home Depot. They actually, as I got out of the car, presented me with a work belt filled with tools. So I do want to thank them for that. If you know anything about it, I do love to fix things up. Since I've been in the oldest governor's mansion in America, they don't really let me touch too much stuff. They say it's to protect my safety. I think it's to protect the mansion, but whatever. That will get into good use in 2 years when I go back into the private sector up in McLean, Virginia. But give the Home Depot a great round of applause for all that they do. And we just had a great announcement a few minutes ago. We just created 43 new jobs that we have here at a meat, poultry, and beef processing facility. So no longer does all of our beef and poultry have to be sent out of state, all these transportation costs, and then brought back into state. It will now be all done here, and this will obviously save us a tremendous amount of transportation costs so that we can keep our food costs low so that we can feed our families. This is what I talk about every day, is how do we help our families in Virginia? I ran for governor, as the secretary said, on economic development. That's why I ran for governor. I promised you I'd shatter every economic development. I enjoy doing this. But folks, we have to. Virginia is the #1 recipient of Department of Defense towers. Think of that. Of all 50 states, we have about 27 military installations. We have the largest naval base in the world, the Pentagon, CIA, Quantico, and Langley Air Force Base, just to name a few. So when Congress and the foolishness that's going on there today and their inability to deal with the issues of sequestration, their inability to pass a highway trust fund bill, which if we don't get funded, I have to stop 300 plus roads here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, costs us about $1 billion. We have the debt ceiling that's coming up first week in November, and nothing's happening. And the problem is they've now done a continuing resolution on the defense budget and our overall budget, and they've pushed that can down the road to December 11th. But let me be clear. I just met with the Secretary of Defense up in Washington at the Pentagon, and he told me that if we do another CR and then another, he said it's the same thing as a slow-moving sequestration. Don't think that these continuing resolutions are good for America. They're not. And they're not good for the Commonwealth of Virginia. So we have to do less reliance on the federal government, bring in new businesses, diversify our economy, and that's why I'm actually here today. We've had tremendous success traveling the globe. I went to China twice last year, Japan, Korea, 7 European nations. The largest deal ever done by a Chinese company. We won that here in Virginia. $2 billion, 2,000 jobs, and actually in 2 days we will be officially putting the shovel in the ground to move the dirt. But I'm here obviously today in Lynchburg because what you are doing here, most importantly, is you're targeting mayor engineering, advanced materials manufacturing, education, healthcare, and entrepreneurship. All very smart choices. We have to think differently about the businesses we bring in, and these enterprise zones are so important, as the mayor talked about, in order to bring and recruit these new businesses. The Enterprise Zone Program allows each locality to combine state and local incentives to create new jobs, to promote private investment, and support the overall growth of your economy. As you know, the program was enacted in 1982. Bill and I are not around yet. We're too young for that. The first round of designations was in 1984. And in 2005, this program was updated to replace tax credits with performance-based cash grants to focus the program more on distressed localities. The Enterprise Zone has long been one of the state's most successful incentive programs, and Bill and his team, as the Secretary said, do an absolutely magnificent job. Lynchburg has had such success with this Virginia Enterprise Zone program. I thank them for the work, and since 2005, 94 Lynchburg businesses have received close to $7.5 million in incentives for creating jobs and more than $130 million in real property investment. So give your mayor and everybody a great round of applause for that. Of the 7.5, nearly $725,000 in those incentives have gone to about 8 companies which are located right here in where we are now in this Lynchpin Industrial Park behind me. The Enterprise Zone designations are achieved through a very, very competitive process that takes into account economic distress, challenges, impact opportunity with the local support that we have. The program has supported more than $1 billion in investment in the creation of more than 40,000 jobs since 1995. Like many of Virginia's historic cities, Lynchburg does face challenges, including limited availability of industrial land and aging commercial properties. Lynchburg's other enterprise zone focuses heavily on the downtown region. This new zone will envelope much of the larger scale properties throughout the city, which are ideal for industrial development and large scale office and retail businesses. So today, folks, I am pleased as governor to announce your new designation right here of a new enterprise zone. There you go, Mayor. So today I'm announcing 5 across the Commonwealth of Virginia. Obviously, as I just announced, Lynchburg will have a new one. 4 other communities are receiving new enterprise zone designations today. They are the city of Hampton, Tazewell County, a joint zone between Mecklenburg and Brunswick counties, and another joint zone in the city of Martinsville and Henry County. So today, a total of 5 new enterprise zones. As you know, each locality receiving a designation for 2016 has an existing enterprise zone designation from 1996 that will expire at the end of 2015. Folks, Virginia is always open for business, and like Lynchburg, we need to continue to work in all of our communities to create a package of flexible and valuable local incentives designed to encourage job creation. Overall, Lynchburg has maintained a diverse mix of acreage in their enterprise zones, ranging from large footprint industrial properties to small mom and pop retailers. Through this new zone, these local and state incentives will be available to a large variety of new businesses here in the city. This is what we need to do across the state. I really thank you for joining me here today, but I want all of the local officials to know this was a very, very competitive process, as Bill would tell you, and the idea that we narrowed all these localities down to 5. And today I'm standing here in Lynchburg because you were one of the 5 is really a testament to the folks in the Lynchburg community. You have done it, you have been successful, and we reward success. So congratulations, it's an honor to work with you. Thank you very much.
I believe that's the end of our program for today. I'm sure the governor will shake a few hands, although I think I'm going to try to get him to maybe go catch a fish or 2 before he gets back in his car.
What is it, trout?
What do we have in our pond here? Where's Joanne? Someone tell us what we have down here. Trout. All right. Get you some trout. Thank you all for coming.